Good afternoon from Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas strong and fearless. How's your week been? It's been a fearless week. Been a good week. Mine has been ongoing. The journey continues. It's amazing how, as I deal with life and people, how they're a blessing in my journey, in my destiny, in my walk, in my holistic way of becoming complete. And that's the purpose of the show. It's a holistic concept to increase in all areas, mind, body, and soul. We're looking this week. Well, before we begin the subject, when you get a chance, look at my other show. It's a spiritual church show, the livingkingdomchurch.com. I think you're going to enjoy it. And if you want to increase your life spiritually, it's a good show. This show, we want to help you increase your life spiritually, physically, and mentally. Every week, I believe the importance of being one, united, in harmony with the Almighty. And that's why I begin the show and saying the Father and I are one. The Son in Jesus Christ and I are one. The Spirit of the living God and I are one. I want you to really believe that. Even if you're not spiritual, believe that you came. You just didn't pop up and begin life. You were created. And your belief system may share as far as you're concerned in how you were created, but you were created. And so there is, as I mentioned in the past, a formless substance. Now I call him God. You may have another name for that formless substance, but I call him God. And in this formless substance, he teaches you on how to be abundant in life. Well, we've been looking at a book, and this is a book right here, in fact. The Science of Success. Every week I've been talking about a particular chapter on richness and how to get rich, how to become rich, we're talking about money, but remember, we're talking about the holistic concept here. So, the physical does not involve money. The spiritual doesn't involve money. The mental involves money. And we're talking on this particular show, on this particular time, about money. I want to see you rich. I want to see you blessed. So we're going to be talking about increased life. Last week we were talking about everybody deserves to be rich. So today we're going to talk about increased life. If you look around in life, in nature, in humans, you're going to see an increase. And so, God, the Creator, does not want you poor. That's the first step, first principle. There's going to be about 7 of them that you must accept and believe. God does not want you poor. That formless substance does not want you poor. Don't walk around in poverty. It's not of God. You know, if somebody is down in the dumps, in the slums, in the streets, that's not of God. God wants you rich. God does not want you poor. And the first thing you have to accept in this series is that fact, God doesn't want you poor. You serve a king. I serve a king. I was thinking about a few kings, from the King Georges to the King Henry to the King Davids this week, and all their children. Think about King David, had a son, King Solomon. I can imagine as that child was growing up, King David made sure he had everything. Now, Queen Elizabeth had a son, a few sons, and she made sure that they weren't poor, that they had plenty. I have 3 daughters, and I made sure they didn't go without. And the more I have, the more I can give them. And that's the way a king should treat his children. And so that's the way your king, if you believe that you are a child of God, which I do, if you believe that you're a child of that formless substance, he doesn't want you poor. So accept that first fact. God does not want you poor. Number 2, we must have more in our lives to do more. And we're talking about money now, right now. The more I have, the more I can give. The more I have, the more I can help. This country has been great because it's been a giving country. The moment we stop helping, it's going to backfire on us as a country. And the moment you stop helping people, family, friends, it's going to backfire on you. My prayer, my thought is, Father, make me rich, make me mighty, make me so I could help others and give more. Because until you help yourself, you can't help others. Now, you may see a situation over there that a person may have a need in family or friends. If you don't have, you can't help them. And so, we must have that attitude. I want more, not just to be selfish, not just to take care of myself, not just to be where I want to be, and those folk over there, they're suffering, they're hurt. No, the more you have, the more you can give. Number 3, God's desire is to make us rich. You see, God is a God of supply, the law of supply. God owns everything in this universe. I was at the beach last week, and I'm sitting there watching the waves, hearing the waves, the ocean, and the crowds around, and the sand. I said, my God owns a lot of stuff here, and it's for me. You see, God gave us dominion over the land and the sea. I was here the other night in my patio watching the fireworks, watching the stars, all that stuff. All that is for my benefit. God gave it to me to make me rich, to make me happy, to make me strong. It's the same thing in your life and in my life. God desires to make us rich. Number 4, I must want to be rich. You have a choice. You have a choice. And I was talking to my webmaster. You have a choice to live where you want to live. You have a choice to make as money as you want to make. You have a choice the choice is yours. Now God will do his part. My children, as they was growing up, I said, honey, I'll give you anything you need, and all I ask is you respect me, and all I ask is you love me. That's it. And when it comes to your God, all he asks is respect him and love him. That's it. But if you don't believe in him, if you don't respect him, if you don't love him, and you're going to try to do everything on your own, it's not going to be easy. It's just like my daughters. When they were babies, when they're a child, they say, oh, you could go try to do it on your own. You think it was going to be easy for them? No. It was going to be very, very hard. The same thing with you. I must want to be rich. As I get older, you must have the right attitude. You must have the right desires. And there's nothing wrong with richnesses. There's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with abundancy. There's nothing wrong with a barn full, back in the old days, a barn full of the needs they needed to feed their families. There's a story in the Bible, because I'm a theologian, and this guy, his name was Joseph, and there was a famine in the land, and he was charged, fill all these barns with wheat and to feed our people. And he did. And all the other people from the different countries came to Egypt because he had plenty to give. It's the same thing. The more you have, the more you can give, as I mentioned. But you need to conclude in your own personal life, I want to be rich. Number 5, God doesn't want you to sacrifice. There's folks in Mexico, and I know because I'm Mexican, but they feel if I sacrifice myself, God will bless me more. And there are folks that get on their knees and walk from one particular area to another particular area on their knees, and their knees bleeding, because they feel if I'm sacrificing, God will listen to me. No, God doesn't want you to sacrifice anything. When you give, it shouldn't be a sacrifice. When you give, it should be because I want to give. I love to give. I want to give. It's not a sacrifice to give. On my other show, we're talking about this guy, his name Cornelius, and God heard him because of his prayers, but he was a giver. Are you a giver or are you a taker? You got two choices. And I hope you're a giver of your blessings. The more you give, it is better to give than to receive, the Bible says. So, God doesn't want you to sacrifice. Number 6, don't be competitive. You see, to be rich, you don't have to be competitive. There's plenty to go around. If you have the attitude, well, if I start this business over here and I got to compete with this guy over here, then it's going to be dog eat dog. No, you don't want to be in a competitive spirit. You want to be in a creative spirit. You want to be able to create your own ideas, your own imagination, your own thoughts, and riches will come. Number 7, there is plenty of riches in the world. Plenty of riches in the world. Let me read you something, if I could remember. It's found in, I think, over here on page 36, and it talks about there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of stuff. There is thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner space of the universe. A thought in the substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by pressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. So, how much time I got? About 2 minutes? Formless substance, the Almighty, had a thought, and the thought was a formation, a motion, and a result, me, the creation. So, if you want to be rich, let's say you want $10,000. You think $10,000, you begin to form the image and move toward the motion, cause and effect. What you think, the effect is going to be $10,000. You got to believe this. Now, I mentioned a few things here, and everything I mentioned are laws. The law of divine oneness, I must believe that the higher, the Almighty, is there for me. The law of attraction, I'm like a magnet. I will attract as a man thinketh. If you begin to think, thought is important. The law of cause and effect. As I think, it's going to happen. It's going to come forth. The law of supply. There's plenty to go around. It's just a matter of utilizing it, using it. And the law of doing. It's not just going to come from heaven. You've got to do something. One of my favorite authors, Napoleon Hill, and I mentioned the idea of having a definiteness of purpose. You must have a purpose. Okay, I want $10,000. Well, what are you going to do to get that $10,000? It's just not going to come from heaven. You've got to initiate the law of doing. Thought plus feelings equals results. Let's close our eyes for a moment, and with this we're going to conclude, and just think. Think health. Feel healthy. Think richness. I feel rich. Think wealth. I feel wealthy. Think love. I feel lovable. Think, I can go on and on and on. Whatever you think, begin to feel those thoughts, and the result will surface. Do certain things, act a certain way, live a certain way, think a certain way, and you'll be rich. Well, we're going to conclude here, and we're going to continue on the idea of how to become rich. And when you get your first $1 million, oh, that's a lot of money. Oh, used to be $1 million, not very much money anymore. When you get your $1 million, don't forget me, okay? Don't forget that what I'm teaching you, and you get that money, and it's going to come your way. Don't forget me. I'm just kidding now. You can send money if you want to. By the way, on that subject, get out your debit card, and on my home page there's a PayPal, and begin to learn to give. Give your money towards us, towards the program, and towards the show, and we're going to just utilize this money to expand our show. God bless you. Next week we're going to be talking about another subject, on the subject of the science of success. I want you successful. You need to walk around with that attitude. I am successful. I am rich. And begin to show your richness. Begin to live your richness. Begin to do things. Begin to act rich. Do things to show that you're rich. Live rich. Think rich. Not poor. God bless you. We'll see you next week.